All right, I'm just gonna quickly check the feed to see if we are live. All right, so looks like we are live. All right, guys. Hello, everyone. This is Karthik here for Digit, and thank you all so much for joining this live session. Thank you all so much for taking the time off from busy schedule. All right, so looks like we are live. All right, guys. Hello, everyone. This is. I'm just gonna ask Akshay. Akshay, I think you're on muted. Thank you all so much for taking the time off from busy schedule. Yeah, guys, please just everyone just mute 1 second because it's just echoing a little bit. So yeah. All right. As I was saying, thank you all so much for joining this live session. We have a very interesting live session planned for you guys today. It's going to be very informative. It's going to be interactive, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm going to first of all quickly go through the agenda for today. We're going to be talking about gaming laptops, right? More specifically, the gaming laptops that are powered by Intel's new H45 processors from the new H series lineup that they have. So we have a lot to talk about, so the agenda for this thing is the way it's going to go down is I'm going to be quickly sharing a presentation with you guys. Don't worry before you think about it. It's a fun one. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of information about the new processors here, and we're going to be talking about some numbers and tell you all the features about these processors. So you guys actually have a lot of questions to us. I have asked us a lot of questions, so we're going to be addressing all of those as well in the later sections. But as soon as the presentation gets over, by the way, it's not just going to in this presentation. To make it more fun, we actually have a very, very special guest with us over here. So let me quickly introduce Mr. Akshay Kamath, who is the Director of PC Client Sales of Intel India. He's joined us. So Akshay has actually joined us via the Zoom call because he couldn't physically be present here due to the COVID restrictions and whatnot. But we really, really appreciate him for joining us via the live session. So let's quickly roll over to Akshay. Akshay, can you please quickly unmute yourself and just say hi to the chat, and let's hear from you what you're looking forward to the most from this session.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Karthik. Hi, everyone. I am Akshay from Intel, and it's really good to be here with all of you. So today we're going to talk about some of the exciting features of our new 11th Gen Tiger Lake H45 products. And this includes the world's best mobile gaming processor, which is the Intel Core i9 11980HK. And we're also going to talk about some of the amazing possibilities that it can unlock for the demanding gamers, creators, workstation professionals out there who really want to push their laptop performance to the next level. So I'm looking forward to hearing and addressing your questions today, and this should be a really fun session. So thank you for having me, and back to you, Karthik.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us. Like I said, so we have a very interesting presentation waiting for you guys. But the agenda for basically after the presentation, we're going to be quickly moving on to the question answer session, which is basically the meat of this whole session today. So we actually received a lot of questions from you guys. So we asked you guys to send us questions while making the registration, while you were registering, filling out the registration form. So first, we're going to be picking up questions from there. And in case you guys did not send us a question while registering, you can always drop your questions in the chat, and we will definitely be picking up some of those questions from the chat as well. It all depends on how much time we have. So we'll try to make it as quickly as possible. And after that, we also have some Digit Squad members who have joined us here for this live session, and we're going to be taking some questions from them as well. Basically, a lot of enthusiasts are here today to know about these laptops, know about these processors and stuff. So we're not going to miss out on anyone. We're going to try to include everybody, and then we'll try to answer as many questions as possible. But the interesting bit is actually yet to come, right? So towards the end of the session, we're going to have a quiz. So I'm pretty sure you must have read this while registering your making your registrations. We had mentioned about a quiz. It's basically the H45 quiz. So the way the quiz is going to go down, we'll talk about the quiz when we actually get to the quiz section. But the story is basically we'll be having a quiz here in which I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions, and the person who will be answering all those questions correctly and also be the quickest one to do so will end up winning an Intel H45 based gaming laptop right from this session. Awesome, right? So you get to learn about all these processors, you get to learn about all these laptops, and then in the end, you can just walk away with a laptop. How cool is that? So that's a very good incentive for you guys who've joined us here on top of a very good session that we're already having. And that's basically the whole agenda. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to quickly open up the presentation for you guys today so that we can get started. I'm just doing all of this on Zoom, so just give me a minute so that I can just figure out all the tabs and everything right now. Okay, cool. All right, we are good to go. So this right here is the presentation. You should be able to see it on your screens now. So, all right, so this presentation is basically about Intel's H45 processors. As you can see, pure performance and play. So Intel's tagline for these processors is basically they're saying desktop class performance for made possible for your mobile computing. That's actually quite insane, right? I mean, there's always, whenever you talk about desktop versus laptop, there's always this competition going on between, oh, desktops are always powerful and the laptops. I mean, the laptops tend to be a little bit less powerful when you compare with the desktop. But Intel has actually made something pretty cool here, and we're going to be checking out exactly how the H45 processors will enable a very good high quality performance for your laptops. We're going to be checking that in details. As you can see in the next slide here, we have a couple of different segments of laptops. There seems to be quite a few of them. For this particular slide, I'm just going to quickly roll over and hand it over to Akshay so that you can quickly take us through all of these segments of laptop. Akshay, over to you now for this particular slide.
Yeah, thank you, Karthik. So, I think, the days that we had, those big, bulky muscle book, I think those days are pretty much over, right? So, we only had those fat, thick laptops that people had no other option for. But I think now what we are seeing is, thanks to the rich innovation that Intel and its partners have been driving, gamers and creators now have a wide array of choices. So whether it's the entry gaming, essential notebooks that, come at some really affordable price points, for that beginner gamer who just wants to get into, gaming and, start trying out gaming. So that's excellent options that we have. There is this new emerging category called ultra portable gaming. So this is a laptop for users who want a machine that can do it all, right? I mean, they can take it to work, they can do their school work on it, but at the same time come back home, or at the end of the day, they can use it for a really power-packed, heavy-duty gaming session. So ultra portables, are those kind of machines that are getting popularity. Now, I think the high-end gaming laptops. So we have the high enthusiast laptops, which are your typical muscle books. But what we are seeing is increasingly these laptops becoming thinner and lighter now. And this is all possible thanks to advancements in the processor technology and some of the platform innovations that Intel has done. So both the thin enthusiast and the muscle books or the Halo enthusiast notebooks both offer some really performance for the most discerning gamers and creators out there. So the key takeaway here is, I think you all would have guessed it, the common ingredient at the heart of all of this is the 11th gen processor, right? So the 11th gen processors, the Tiger Lake H45, and our previous H35, they come, with TDPs that can scale all the way from 35 watt all the way up to 65 watt in the case of our flagship Core i9. So that makes some of these really thin and light form factors possible without compromising on performance. And also, if you see, the innovations that we have brought with the 11th gen, like the PCI Gen 4, right? So first time ever that we're offering so many PCI Gen 4 lanes in a laptop. Thunderbolt 4 is integrated, and then we have the latest Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E built into these laptops, which means you get the fastest download speeds and lowest latency. So all of these platform innovations together come and bring a very compelling platform. So a lot of choice for gamers in different form factors. It's an exciting time to be a gamer. So we look forward to what people are going to do with these laptops. Over to
Awesome.
you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Akshay, for explaining. So basically, as you can see, guys, there's a lot of different options here right in front of you, and 3 of these segments actually are powered by Intel's new H45 processors. And in fact, we actually got to check out a couple of laptops that belongs to each of these segments. So what I'm going to do quickly here is I'm going to quickly share a video with you guys that we quickly made. So what we got to do was we got to check out one laptop each from each of these segments. So you have your enthusiast, you have your you have your essential, my bad, and you have your thin enthusiast and your Halo enthusiast laptops. So we got to check out one laptop from each of these segments. I'm going to quickly play a video here, in which we're going to be talking a little bit about these laptops, the H series laptops more specifically. Let me quickly pull up that. There you go. Hey guys, this is Karthik here again, and I have these 3 interesting laptops that fit under each of the segments that we just talked about. First off, I have the Acer Nitro 5 gaming laptop, a popular favorite here, with me that comes with the Intel Core i5-11300H CPU. It sits in the essential segment in the list that is suited for 1080p gaming thanks to the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 GPU. Next up, we have a slightly more premium offering here in the form of the Asus Zephyrus M16 gaming laptop with an Intel H45 Core i9-11900H CPU and an RTX 3070 GPU. This is a relatively thin laptop, so this one's definitely for those looking at the thin enthusiast gaming laptops. Lastly, I have the MSI G66 Raider gaming laptop with me, which comes with an Intel Core i7-11800H CPU and an RTX 3080 GPU. Now, this is one of the more powerful machines on the list. It's a Halo Enthusiast notebook rocking a 1440p display that comes with support for up to 240Hz refresh rate. Here's a quick look at the gaming performance of each of these laptops. I'm just showing one game here for the sake of this presentation, but that should give you an understanding of where each of these laptops sit in terms of performance with respect to their segments. All right, awesome, right? So we got to check out these laptops. So I just want to quickly add one particular bit, adding in particular to that video. So basically, all of these laptops that you saw are powered by the H series processors, and even the Acer Nitro 5 that you see here, that's powered by 1650 GT 1650 GPU, which is a relatively old GPU, I would say. But even then, in that laptop as well, when we have played the Metro Exodus game at ultra graphics setting, you're still able to hit that 30 FPS mark. So if you tweak down the graphics settings a little bit, I think you'll be able to hit that 60 FPS mark as well, which is actually not bad for a laptop that it's rocking a relatively old GPU. So obviously your processors and everything comes into play here, and you get the kind of performance that you're able to see. Of course, we only showed you one benchmark there, but I obviously got to play a lot of games, and I've been using those laptops. It's a lot of fun. So you're going to be seeing a lot of content from us going forward in the channel as well as the website. Now I'm going to quickly pull up the presentation and try to finish it as quickly as I can, because we have to move on with the other stuff as well that we have. So there you go. The next slide, as you can see, now we're going to be talking about the different features of the H45 processor. The first off, as you can see, we have up to 8 Willow Cove cores and 16 threads, right? So what exactly does this mean? So you have a higher number of cores this time around in comparison to the, let me quickly change one second. I think I'll just have to. So it's not showing up. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly do this thing. Okay, like I was saying, so you have a higher number of core counts this time, and then you have 16 threads, and which is basically higher than what you got to see previous generation of processors. And next up, we have Intel's 10 nanometer super fin process technology as well, which is basically not exactly a full node transition we're looking at, but the performance improvements is there, and we're going to be talking about this in the later slides as well. Next up, we have Intel USB with 32 execution units based on the XC graphics architecture. Now, basically, all of these laptops, since we're talking about gaming laptops here in particular, I'm pretty sure these laptops are going to have their own set of discrete GPUs for gaming, of course. But Intel's USD graphics has been getting a lot better over the years, and I'm pretty sure they're at their prime right now. I'm expecting to see a lot more improvements going forward as well. But you get Intel USD graphics, 32 execution units here. Next up, we have 20 PCIe 4.0 lanes from the CPU and 24 PCIe 3.0 lanes. Now, the thing to note here is that you're getting 20 PCIe 4.0 lanes. We're going to be talking about this quite a bit later in the coming sections. Moving on, you have the Intel Optane Memory H20 as well. Now, this exactly what this means is this is going to translate to faster storage speeds. So it's going to help you with your game loading times. It's going to help you with your file transfer and everything. So you're and next up, we have the Turbo Boost Max 3.0 technology. Now, this is something that's it's actually one of my personal favorites, because this is the technology that actually allows these CPUs to hit a maximum frequency of 5 gigahertz. That's actually insane. So we're going to be talking exactly how this happens again in the later slides. Next up, we have the support for integrated Thunderbolt 4 with up to 40 Gbps bandwidth and a discrete Intel Killer Wi-Fi card as well. So you can get Wi-Fi 60 gigabit internet as well. Moving on, now we're going to be talking specifically about each of the features that we talked about real quick, so that we don't take up too much of your time. The power of up to 8 Willow Cove cores and 16 threads. Now, thanks to these cores, you're looking 19% gen-on-gen performance improvement when it comes to the multi-thread applications, as you can see here. So obviously you have more the number of cores, so your performance is naturally going to be higher. And the peak frequency boost, as you can see, it's up to 5 gigahertz, which is up from 4 gigahertz of peak frequency from the Sunny Cove code, which is your 10th generation processor. Here we're comparing it to the previous generation. And next up, we have higher performance per watt as well. So basically, even TDP rating for these particular CPUs, you will get higher performance per wattage. So eventually you can say that these processors are actually quite a bit power efficient as well. And that is most likely, and that is hugely responsible for that is here is the 10 nanometer super fin process technology that we have. So you're looking at a huge performance uplift and significantly higher clock speeds compared to the vanilla 10 nanometer architecture. Like I said, this is not a complete full node transition we're looking at. It is just a slight advancement, but even at a significant performance output, performance improvement that is comparable to a full node transition, like I just mentioned. Moving on, we have a 20 PCIe 4.0 lanes. Now, this is actually a very interesting part, right? So as you can see, the Tiger Lake Edge Silicon supports up to 20 PCIe 4.0 lanes for discrete graphics and storage. The lanes of the PCI can be split in 3 different ways. Now, the way this can be split is a little bit interesting. So let's say, for example, you want to split these lanes. So what you can do is out of these 50, you can have up to 16 of them for your GPU. Let's say, for example, you have a discrete card. You can have up to 16 of them. You can link them together. You can have them for GPU and have the remaining 4 of them for your storage. But if faster storage is your priority, then you can in fact have 3 of those 4x lanes link up together and have a RAID 0 memory configuration, so which is quite unusual in the laptop, but it is definitely possible if that is something that you'd be interested. So that kind of versatility is possible here thanks to these 20 lanes of PCIe 4.0. And not to forget, you also get Thunderbolt 4, which is supported in all these processors. And the 11th generation Tiger Lake H45 with 20 PCIe Gen 4.0 lanes from CPU also supports bootable RAID Auto with Intel H45, like I just mentioned. You also get that option here. And moving on, we have the Turbo Boost Max 3.0 technology. Now, in case you remember, I just mentioned that this is actually one of my favorite features of the processor. Now, why is that? Is because it automatically identifies the best performing cores to increase the overall performance. So obviously, you have a lot of cores here in the H40 processor. If you look at the core i9 80HK, which is like the top of the line CPU in this particular, looking at about 8 cores. And so obviously it's what this Turbo Boost technology is going to do is going to figure out the best performing cores out of the bunch, and it's going to automatically help it boost and achieve the 5 gigahertz a single core frequency clock speeds. That's actually pretty crazy. And all this done is while the processor continues to operate within the specified limit. So you guys don't even have to hitting its TJ max limit or it getting overheated, or suffering from thermal throttling and stuff. It just does it everything natively, and it'll keep everything under the specified limits, so that you guys can continue doing what you do best and let it handle its own. Now, that was basically all the thing that we want to talk about, the features of the S45. Now it's time to talk about some gaming numbers, right? So that's what we are here for. We all want to talk about the gaming performance of these laptops. I'm sure you guys, all of you who joined us here for the live session are like gamers, hardcore gamers who joined us to know the best performance. I'm going to move on to some gaming numbers. So as you can see, there's a lot of number here. I'm actually going to quickly pull over Akshay again for this particular slide so that Akshay can quickly take us through all of these slides for the performance. Akshay, can you just please take us through these slides real quick?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Karthik. So I think let's first take a look at how our 11 gen compares with our previous 10 gen, right? So what we're doing here on the slide is we are showing you the gameplay FPS performance of the flagship Core i9 11980HK with our previous flagship, which was the 10 gen Core i9 10980HK, right? So one thing to note here is the two systems being compared have similar specs. Of course, the CPU is different. The GPU in both cases is same. It's the RTX 3080. And you notice here that the graphics, the maximum graphics power in both of these systems is the same, right? So it's apples to apples. Now, as you can see from this chart, clearly the 11 gen Core i9 delivers, double-digit percentage FPS increases across a wide variety of popular game titles, right? And you can see that in the game like War Thunder, it goes all the way up to 21% FPS increases, which is quite substantial, right, for a gen-on-gen. So, substantial improvements in terms of gaming performance, that's really going to be great for gamers, right? But, okay, we looked at gen-on-gen, but how about the competition? People are really, I think that's what people are looking for. How does this compare versus our competition? So if we go to the next slide, we precisely talk about that. So, here we are going to be comparing the Core i9, right, which is our flagship, with the competition's flagship processor, which is a Ryzen 9 5900HX. And we are looking at the gameplay performance across the same set of games we looked at earlier. And outside of the CPU, the systems being compared here have this, similar specs with RTX 3080 graphics. And you can see here that the FPS gains on the 11 gen Core i9 are actually even more impressive. So consistent double-digit percentage FPS advantage versus competition, and going up to 26% better FPS in a game like Grid 2019, right? But one thing I would like to highlight is what makes this even more impressive is if you consider that the competition system here is actually having the maximum GPU power configured about 10 watt higher versus the Intel system, these numbers look even more good, right? So, great performance, but, that's not all. We'll also look, the next slide, how does the ultra portable thin enthusiast category compare on performance, right? Because ultra portables are growing fast, as we said. And here we have, ultra portable laptops with our 11 Gen Core i5, 11400H. And this is in a sub 16.5 millimeter, ID. This is running a RTX 3060 Max Q, has a maximum graphics power of about 65 watts. And we are comparing it to a competition system with the Ryzen 9 5900HS. This is in a 18 millimeter, 20 millimeter laptop ID, so a little bit thicker, right? And this is running a RTX RTX 3060 at a maximum graphics power of about 80 watts. So not only is the Core i5 in a thinner system, but the graphics on the Core i5 system is also running at a lower max graphics power compared to the competition. And despite that, you can see that the Core i5 is very competitive versus Ryzen 9, and even delivering up to 12% higher FPS in a game like Troy. So in a nutshell, all around better performance from the 11 Gen, and that's why we believe it's a perfect CPU for gamers who are looking for the fastest mobile gaming performance out there. So these were numbers. Now I think we're going to wrap it up by talking a little bit about creators, because creators are an important audience for these laptops. So let's look at some of the features, platform features for creators, and what we are doing in the 11 Gen, right? So first of all, if you see, the 32 execution units of graphics is based on our latest, Xe graphics architecture. And what this means is that, if you're, handling like 4K video, you're doing a lot of video transcoding. It is able to handle, 4K 60 video very easily smoothly with QuickSync video, and it has dedicated AV1 hardware decode features as well. The graphics supports DP4A, which is AI capability, a part of our Intel DL Boost solution. And with these AI enhanced capabilities, what this means is that if you're doing anything like image manipulation or video editing, the AI features can really do this task in a jiffy, right? So it saves you a lot of time if you're a professional creator. I think Karthik already touched upon this. So thanks to the PCI Gen 4, you can connect the latest high-speed NVMe SSDs. And like you said, we support bootable RAID 0 configs thanks to our Intel RST technology. And last but not least, Thunderbolt 4, like I said, is natively built in. It's the fastest port out there, right? Up to 40 Gbps. Can connect to multiple monitors. You can transfer huge files, videos, games between your external storage and your PC, and connect to 4K monitors. So all in all, a great package for creators, and I think some really powerful options out there for everybody. So that's it, I think. And Karthik, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay, for all that information. So basically, guys, as you just saw, we have, we just looked at a couple of games compared with the previous generations, and we also looked at some creativity workloads. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are watching here this live session are creators as well. We get a lot of questions on a daily basis about different laptops and CPU recommendations, etc., for creators. So I'm pretty sure you guys got to see everything, and then you guys can now figure out which particular CPU is the best for you. Of course, there are a bunch of options to choose from, starting all the way from i5 and going all the way up to the holy grail of processors, like as I like to call it, which is the Core i9 11980HK. Now, that was basically it for the presentation, guys. Now we're going to be quickly moving on to the Q&A session. Now, before we move on, I just want to quickly remind you guys again about the quiz that is about to happen to us. Session. So in case you guys just joined in, if you guys didn't hear about the quiz, so let me tell you that we are actually quiz towards the end of this session, in which I'm going to be asking 3 questions to you guys, and the person who answers all of the questions correctly and the quickest one to do so will actually be able to walk away with this from this live session with an Intel H45 based gaming laptop. That's quite awesome. So just stay tuned, stick around till the end. We're going to have the quiz session very shortly. Now I'm going to be moving on to the questions real quick. Now, before we actually hop in for the questions from you guys that you asked us while registration, I'm going to be actually I'm going to quickly stop sharing this screen here so that you guys can see. Okay, cool. So I'm going to be actually taking some questions from our Digit Squad members who have joined us. Like I told you guys earlier, we have a couple of Digit Squad members who have joined us for this live session. These are some of the enthusiasts who are equally excited about these processors, just as excited as you guys are. So they had a bunch of questions. So they reached out to us and they said, we want to ask some questions to Mr. Akshay, and we want to get some clarity, and we want to ask you some questions and get more information. So we've invited four Digit Squad members here. So I'm going to be quickly talking to them, and then we're going to be taking some questions from them before we move on to the questions that you guys had sent. So first of all, we're going to start with Garv Tandon. Garv has joined us here, and he is in the Zoom call right now. So Garv, if you're here, you can quickly unmute yourself and you can ask your question now.
So I was looking to buy a laptop for gaming and content creation. So I think Intel's H45 platform is perfect for it. And I'd like to thank Digit and Intel India for giving me this platform to clarify my doubts about the product. My question is related to overclocking. So as everyone would be aware, H45 is the only series of processors offered by Intel in its 11th gen mobile lineup that offers overclocking support. So has Intel taken any steps this generation to make the process easier for enthusiast end users? In fact, does it offer one-click overclocking?
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for your question. That's actually a very interesting question, that interesting topic that Gaurav has actually picked up here. Akshay, do you want to quickly take us through the answer for this question?
Yeah, sure, Karthik, I can do that. So Gaurav, first of all, nice to meet you. And, I think you raised a very important question. So overclockers, are a key audience, for us. And, we think that they really push the envelope in terms of gaming. So first of all, yes, we have, our Intel Extreme Tuning utility, which is called XTU. This is a tool which provides a very rich menu of options, to all kinds of overclockers, right from the beginner overclockers all the way to the advanced overclockers. And some of the things which you can do with this tool is, for example, you can, control the per core voltage. You can also tweak the internal beat clock, right? So those options are there. You can also, for example, do some of the memory overclocking as well through this tool. So, the XTU is, available as a free download from, our site. And this tool combined with our Core i9 11980HK, which is, fully unlocked for overclocking in the Tiger Lake family. We believe this is a great option for overclockers. The second thing I think is even for, some of the novice overclockers out there who want to try overclocking, but maybe worried about breaking something. We have something interesting for them as well. So we have something called Intel Speed Optimizer. And this is actually part of the Intel XTU tool, right? And this is a very simple, one click, easy system tuning option for the 11th Gen i9, right? And it's so easy, anybody can do it. What it does, it's automated. You push the button, you click on it, and it kind of tests the system. It automatically overclocks the cores to the maximum frequencies possible that is allowed by the the temperature and the voltage, etc., right? And it keeps it within safe limits. So that's one easy way to get the maximum performance out of your system, even for those who may not be familiar with overclocking. So a couple of great options, a great CPU, like I said. So yes, overclockers can absolutely have a great time with this platform.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay, for answering that question. Gaurav, I hope your question was answered. Now we're going to move on to the next person who has joined us here. We have Vipul Lokhande here, who has again joined us, one of our Digit Squad member. And he also has a question for you. Vipul, you can just unmute now and you can ask your question as well.
Okay, hello everyone. Right now, my question is based on the cooling and thermal management category. So I'm curious to know that will there be any exclusive cooling methods or techniques or designs that will be used for the laptops with H45 processors? And I would like to thank the Digit and Intel India for giving me this opportunity to ask the question right on here AMA. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Vipul, for your question. So this is actually, again, one of the more interesting topics. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm just checking the chat right now, and a lot of people are actually interested in to know about the thermal performance of these processors. So let me tell you, first of all, answering Vipul's question, I just want to tell you, Vipul, that usually when it comes to the laptop designs that you look, it's something that's exclusive to the OEMs. I'm pretty sure Intel or the NVIDIA or even the GPU partners that we have, they're not really involved in the laptop's design process from what I know. So laptop design is something that is exclusive to OEMs, and they can decide to come up with new designs. They can keep using their existing ones, or they can even come up with some crazy stuff as we have seen recently. So and to answer your question about the heating and thermal performance, guys, so we have actually tested a couple of H45 based laptops here at Digit. feel free to go to our YouTube channel, or you can also visit us at digit.in, and you can read a couple of those reviews. So we ended up reviewing a couple of H45 based laptops already, and we actually saw some pretty good results and pretty insane results, I must say. So if you are interested to know more about the thermal performance, quickly answering, if in case you're worried, do not worry about the thermal performance. Everything seems to be running just fine. So that is just a quick answer I just want to give you guys. And Vipul, hopefully I answered that question for you as well. Next up, we're going to move on. We have another Digit Squad member. Pranit Manda has joined us here. So Pranit, you can quickly unmute yourself and ask the question right now.
Yeah, hi all. So I have been using an i7 9 generation processor on my laptop and an i5 processor on my desktop. So in terms of gaming performance, how can I expect a boost in performance compared to the older processors with the H series processors?
All right. Thank you so much, Pranit, again for your question. So that's actually another interesting question. You guys seem to have very good questions for us. Anyway, so Pranit wants to actually know how does the new processor compared to his 9th generation i7 processor on the laptop. So first of all, answering to that question, Pranit, we are looking at a 2 generation older CPU right now, right? So obviously a Core i7 9750H was actually pretty good processor for that time. But when you're looking at a 2 generation newer processor, you obviously are going to see some benefits according to the time, right? So we have a bunch of new features, as you just saw. The core frequency is higher than ever. We have a lot more cores as well in play right now. So basically, regardless of the kind of applications that you run, or even if you're going to play games, even the games that are coming out right now are kind of designed to take advantage of more cores that these manufacturers have started offering. So a lot of new games that have started coming out can now take advantage of the lot of cores that you guys can put them and then feed them. So obviously your newer CPU is going to help your games and all the softwares and applications run better. Of course, that's one thing. And when comparing with the 10th generation i5 for your desktop, well, obviously this is something that we'll have to compete directly, go head to head with it, so I can give you a definitive answer. But if you just want to quickly, then I'm pretty sure, yes, you will see some benefits. But of course, when you're talking about a desktop, you're usually looking at a very sophisticated cooling solution as well, right? You have a case, and then you have the freedom to choose your cooling systems. You can put a CPU cooler in there, and you can do some crazy liquid cooling stuff as well. So you have a lot more freedom when it comes to customizing your desktop, whereas on laptop, you are simply limited to what the OEM has to offer and the chassis, whatever the cooling system that is offered. So obviously the performance is something that we will have to compare, and maybe we can definitely get back to you on this once we have a definitive comparison. All right, I hope that answers your question, Pranit. Now moving on, we have another question from another Digit member here called his name Viraj. So Viraj has joined us here. Viraj, you can quickly unmute yourself and ask us your question as well.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. After listening to all the talks about this processor, I can pretty say that performance is very amazing. But I think if this performance is so good, what is the impact of battery life? Because for us gamers as well as content creators, battery life is very important when we are talking mobile. So will it be as same as the previous generation or better?
All right. Thank you so much, Viraj, for that question. So again, battery life is something that a lot of people are interested to know when it comes to laptops. So quickly answering the question, I just want to mention one thing, that the H45 processors these are basically performance-centric processors, right? So the main focus here is giving you the raw performance that you need for your gaming as well as creative-centric workloads. So I mean, I've said this previously in a lot of my reviews, and we've said this a lot of times here at Digit as well. Battery life is something that's kind of considered as an afterthought when it comes to gaming laptops. A lot of laptops actually suffer from battery life issues. But answering your question, Viraj, I've actually tested, like I said, I've tested a couple of H45 laptops here at Digit, and I can actually tell you that battery life is not, it doesn't seem to be an issue at all. In fact, one of the H45 laptops that was actually powered by the i7 11800H was actually pretty good in terms of battery life. I was in fact surprised to see that kind of battery life from that. But then again, when you're talking about battery life, you also have to consider some other external factors like your battery rating, your battery capacity, and also some other peripherals that your laptop has. So for example, a laptop not only has a CPU, you're also looking at a GPU, and you're also looking at a display. So for instance, the display that I'm using right here for this particular live session, this is an MSI laptop that we saw in the showcase, actually has a quad HD display, and that supports up to 240 hertz refresh rate, guys. That's actually a lot higher than my monitor that I have at my place for my gaming setup. So you're looking at some insane performance here. So to push all of that, obviously the battery life is going to be a little bit of a limiting factor. But like I said, do not worry about it. I'm pretty sure the OEMs have taken that into consideration, and they've started actually packing more battery, or as much battery as they can pack into a laptop with by staying under the limit. So hopefully, Viraj, I've answered your question with that. Now, guys, before moving on that you guys have sent us, I want to quickly play a couple of videos. So basically, a lot of Digit Squad members were super duper excited for these sessions, and they wanted to actually they come us and talk to us. Of course, we couldn't get all of them here. We only got a limited number of people, but we have some awesome fans who made videos for us, and they wanted us to actually share this, and they wanted to share the excitement of their community as well. So all these members have a huge community, and apparently all of the community members are also equally excited for these processors. So that's awesome to hear. So I'm going to quickly play a couple of videos here in which we're going to be checking out what of these Digit members and their community members have to say about these new H45 processor. Let me quickly pull up this video right here. Yeah, that should be.
Hi guys, I am Vasav Chawla from Indian Soldier 1 channel on YouTube. My channel is focused on PC gaming, console gaming and tech related content and has a subscriber base of 1,88,000 subscribers. Thank you for having me as a part of this Digit AMA on Intel H45 platform. I'm looking forward to these newly launched Intel H45 platform based processors for gaming laptops. They certainly look promising from a pure performance point of view with a higher number of cores and faster clock speeds. My community has also been asking me a lot of questions regarding this, and there's a lot of buzz around the Intel H45 platform for laptops in the community. I'm glad to attend this session to learn more and also take that knowledge back to my community. I have also invited my community to attend this session, looking forward to an interactive session with Digit and Intel folks. My question to Intel is that with the promise of desktop level performance across processors and GPUs, should the gamers prepare to switch to laptops from gaming desktops?
Thank you so much, Vaso. Let me just quickly get this one. Thank you so much, Vasav, for your question right here. So Vasav actually was interested to know, should gamers actually consider switching from laptops from their desktops? That's actually a very interesting question. Well, Vasav, I mean, you're looking at some insane performance here, right? So you're looking at a lot higher number of cores, you have a lot of threads, and you have a higher frequency and peak frequency. So I just want to tell you guys that if you, I mean, a lot of people actually ask us this question about switching from desktop to a laptop for gaming. In fact, I've actually seen a few people do that as well, and they seem to be pretty happy about it because the laptop offers you the kind of portability that the desktop does not. So in case you are interested in doing that, then of course my answer to you is why not, right? Because you have everything pretty much on offer here, and you have an incredible processor at play. You have a pretty good variety of GPUs are also available with with all your TGP ratings and everything. Everything is transparent now. You can read about all that stuff. So you can actually easily make a purchase decision if you're interested. And yeah, if you want to switch from desktop to laptop, if that is something that you're interested in do, then I'm not going to be stopping you from doing that. We have some very good laptop options. Be sure to stay tuned. In fact, one of you can actually win one of the H45 laptops from this live session as well. So why not? Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question, Vasav. I'm going to quickly play another video here that we have from another Digit Squad member. We have a couple of videos. A lot of people, you were excited to know about these processors, and then you wanted to actually let us know what's happening. So I'm just going to quickly put in another video here. Just please bear with me as I do this thing because it's a lot of tabs open here. There you go. Yeah, we have this now.
My name is Sai Kiran from Telugu Tech TV. We creators and gamers usually prefer desktop over a laptop. The main reason is performance. When we compare both, the performance on desktop is slightly higher than the performance on laptop. That is the reason we prefer desktops over laptops. But the main problem we face with desktop is portability. So they are very big, and wherever we go, we cannot carry them and we cannot do our work there. So it used to be a big problem for creators and gamers, but Intel came up with a good concept. So they bought H45 processors. They are mobile processors, but the performance matches the desktop level performance. So they are small in size, but the performance speaks very big. So it will be a great opportunity for creators and gamers. So we can carry wherever we want and we can do our works. We can play games, we can render videos, whatever heavy task we have, we can do it on a laptop. So it has 8 cores. The maximum clock speed is about 5 gigahertz, which is extreme. So we can play any game, we can do any multitasking, anything we want, we can do on the small compatible laptop. And it has 16 threads, we can render our videos very fast, and also we can do video streaming seamlessly. I'm very thankful for Intel for bringing such amazing product. It will be very helpful for gamers and creators like me, and I'm really excited to have an hands on them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Saikin, for that video. As you guys can see, a lot of people have been are super excited about these process. Actually, Saikin has a pretty interesting setup behind his camera. So that's actually the exact same PC cabinet I also have. Anyway, moving on, we have another Digit Squad member who has sent us a video, and I'm pretty sure he also has a question. So I'm going to quickly play that one as well before we move on to the Q&A session, and we guys can bring you in as well for the questions. Let me quickly do that as well. One, there you go.
गाइस, मेरा नाम है मनोज कुमार और मैं हूं ट्रैकर मैम यूट्यूब चैनल से। दोस्तों, हमारा चैनल बेस्ड है टेक, गेमिंग, पीसी बिल्ड्स और बहुत सारी क्रिएटर बिल्ड्स से रिलेटेड हम वीडियोस बनाते रहते हैं। फिलहाल हमारे चैनल के ऊपर 5 लाख से ज्यादा फॉलोअर्स हैं। तो दोस्तों, सबसे पहले बहुत बहुत थैंक्स डिजिट एएमए का मुझे इंटेल के H45 प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर अपनी बात रखने देने के लिए। दोस्तों, हम ऑलरेडी इंटेल के H45 प्लेटफॉर्म बेस्ड प्रोसेसर को फॉलो कर रहे हैं। ये प्रोसेसर कमाल के प्रोसेसर होने वाले हैं आपके गेमिंग लैपटॉप के लिए, और यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस आपको देने वाले हैं। प्योर परफॉर्मेंस आपको यहाँ पे देखने को मिलेगी। दोस्तों, बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉमिसिंग लग रहे हैं। यहाँ पे आपको हायर क्लॉक स्पीड तो मिलेगी, साथ में हायर नंबर ऑफ कोर्स भी मिलने वाले हैं। अब यहाँ पे जो हमारी कम्युनिटी है वो भी काफी समय से इंतजार कर रही है और पूछ रही है बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस। H45 कैसा होने वाला है, क्या चीज उसमें आने वाली है, क्या चीज हमें मिलने वाली है। बहुत ज्यादा रूमर्स वगैरह यहाँ पर क्रिएट हो गए हैं, तो उन सबका जवाब देना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। और यहाँ पे हमारी कम्युनिटी में बहुत लोग एक्साइटेड है प्रोसेसर के लिए। काफी लोग ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं कि H45 कैसा होने वाला है, उसके अंदर हमें कैसी परफॉर्मेंस देखने को मिलेगी। तो बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं। तो यहाँ पे मैं काफी ज्यादा खुश हूँ कि मुझे इस सेशन को अटेंड करने का मौका मिल रहा है, ताकि मैं और ज्यादा ज्ञान यहां से ले पाऊं और ज्यादा जानकारी यहां से ले सकूं, ताकि अपनी कम्युनिटी में वापस जाके मैं बता सकूं कि H45 में क्या क्या कमाल की चीजें मिलने वाली हैं। तो यहां पे मैंने अपनी कम्युनिटी को भी इनवाइट किया कि आप लोग भी आए यहां पे सेशन को अटेंड करें। तो यहां पे थैंक यू डिजिट एंड थैंक यू इंटेल।
All right, so Manoj from MNTech seems to be super duper excited for these new processors. Well, I can totally relate to that because these processors are actually pretty good. And like I said, I've been testing them and they turned out to be pretty good. Anyway, now moving on, guys. So that was all the Digit Squad activity that we had. We had a lot of members coming in here. They asked us a bunch of questions, and we also got to see some pre-recorded videos from our members who are super excited along with their communities. So we got to see them as well. Now it's time for us to move on to the actual Q&A session, basically the one that you guys had sent us. So first of all, like I said, we're going to be addressing some questions that you guys had sent us while filling up your registration form. And once we have, depending on how much time we have, we'll try to pick some questions from the chat as well, I'm sure, because I'm seeing a lot of questions right now as I was just scrolling through the chat. Anyway, starting off, we have our very first question here from DB Panda. Very interesting name. DB Panda says, hey Digit, I'm an avid Digit follower as well as a content creator. And let me actually open this right here real quick. Yeah, so DB Panda says, hey Digit, I'm an avid Digit follower as well as a content creator and heavily rely on video production and animation softwares very often. How do you think will these H45 laptops will give me an edge over my use case? First of all, thank you so much for your question, Panda. It's actually very interesting. So Panda basically wants to know, I'm just going to call you Panda because that seems like a very good name for me. Anyway, so he wants to know that they want to know exactly H45 laptops, how good are they for content creation and animation related work? Well, I myself have been actually creating a lot of content lately. I'm actually super interested to check out the content creation area, and I've been trying to, make some videos in my spare times and everything. And I actually got to test out these laptops, and as we do with all of our laptop reviews, guys, we actually try to add a content creation workflow section in our reviews. So any review that you go watch on our website or read on our website or watch on the YouTube channel, you will see a section called creative workflow section, which we basically run a bunch of creative workloads, test, and then we also try to run Adobe Lightroom, and then we also run Adobe After Effects or DaVinci Resolve or some video editing software. So when I did that on these newer H45 processors, I immediately saw a boost in performance. Now, the reason for that is basically you have a higher number of cores here, right? And obviously, when you're talking about the creative-centric applications like your Photoshop, your Lightroom, and even your Adobe software, like or even the DaVinci Resolve for that matter, these softwares heavily rely on the number of cores. So regardless of how many cores you tend to throw at them, they basically chew through all of them. So they will take all the raw power that you feed them and they'll give you the best performance possible. So I, in fact, actually was able to see better performance when I was actually testing the software with these newer processors. So hopefully that answers your question, Banda. Yes, you can definitely use these processors for your creative workloads, and I'm pretty sure even the animation software, everything is going to work just perfectly fine. Moving on, we have another question from Fe George. The question is, if the i5, let alone i7, can pretty much do anything like content creation or gaming, why do you even need H45? Well, George, thank you so much, first of all, your question. I think you seem to have a little bit of a nomenclature problem here. Let me just quickly clear that. So basically, i5 and i7 are just the name of the processor, and regardless of the series that we're talking about. So currently we're talking about the H series, but you also have i5 and i7 in a bunch of other series as well. So for example, if you take the U series, for instance, which is actually, like Akshay had mentioned on the previous slides, these are for your ultra portable machines, but they also have i5, i7 processors. So when you're purchasing a laptop, you obviously want to consider, you obviously look at the name of the processor. Yes, it is an i5 or an i7 or an i9 for that matter, but I would highly recommend you to check out the series that processor belongs to as well, because depending on the series, depending on the use case that these processors are built for, they will have either higher TDP ratings or lower TDP ratings. So it all depends on all of those external factors as well. So regardless of i5 or i7, I would highly recommend you to check out the series that these belongs to. And if you're looking about H45, if you're talking about H45 processors, then of course you have a higher TDP rating, you have better performance out of them, and all the good stuff that we actually previously saw in the presentation. So I hope that answers your question. Next up, we have Chirag Bhandari, who had asked us, what's the major upgrade you provide over the 10th generation series processors, and are there any new technology introduced with the processor? Well, Chirag, this is again a very interesting question. Thank you so much for asking that. I hope you have joined the live session. Akshay, do you want to quickly take this question? I've been talking to a lot. You guys are just waiting, so I just wanted to quickly pull in you and then interact with the audience as well. So over to you, Akshay.
Yeah, sure, Karthik. I can take that. So hi, Chirag. It's a very good question. So, first of all, with 11th Gen, on the Core i9s, Core i7s, we offer 8 cores, 16 threads of performance with up to 24 meg of cache. And then on the Core i5s, we offer 6 core, 12 threads with up to 12 meg of cache. So that means that, compared to previous gen, there's a lot of improvement on the multi-threaded performance, right? Up to 19% improvement in multi-threaded performance. But apart from performance, I think you also saw some benchmarks that we showed in the presentation on gaming and content creation. But there are a lot of exciting new technologies that 11th Gen brings to the table. There are many, but I'll hit on three key ones, right? So first of all, thanks to the PCI Gen 4 lanes, right? That's the most in any laptop generation. So that's enabled off of the CPU in 11th Gen. And what this means is that it enables unlocking the full potential. You can attach the latest discrete graphics cards. You can attach, like I said, the highest speed SSDs out there. And that's not all, right? So you also have 24 lanes of PCI Gen 3, which is coming from the chipset in the platform. So that's a whopping total of 44 lanes. And so that's some interesting configurations that system vendors can look at when they build these laptops. Second, I would say the Thunderbolt 4. This is especially important for creators and even gamers who like to transfer a lot of game files between the system and their external storage. So it is the fastest USB 4 out there. Speeds up to 40 Gbps. In fact, you can connect multiple peripherals. So you can connect two 4K displays. You could connect one 8K display over a single cable, right? And it also supports PC charging on at least one port. So if you do a lot of file transfers, if you do any kind of creation, animation work, it's a must-have feature. And the lastly, I think, is the support for the killer Wi-Fi, right? So support for discrete Wi-Fi 6E. That is, I think, Wi-Fi 6E is one of the biggest developments in the Wi-Fi technology in last 20 years. And what this means is that if you buy a laptop which has this discrete Wi-Fi 6E enabled, it's going to be future-proof for you in terms of connectivity for some time, right? So that combined with the software innovations with our killer prioritization engine and the killer intelligent agents means that your gaming traffic is going to be always prioritized over your network. It's always going to be optimizing your connection, which means that you're always going to get the fastest speeds. You're going to get the lowest latency. So if you're a multiplayer gamer, it means that you get the best experience, right? So these are three key features, and there are many others like resizable bar, support for better performance, support for opt-in, etc. But I would leave you with those things. So some really great improvements that we have made.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay, for that elaborate answer. I hope, Chirag, your question was answered very well. Moving on, we have another question from a user called named Raj Desai. Raj wants to know a difference in performance between the i7 11th generation 11370H 4-core processor versus i7 11th generation 11800H 8-core processor. So First of all, Raj, thank you so much for your question. And I think if you think about it, you answered the question yourself when you asked this. You're looking at an i7 11 generation 11370H with which is a quad core CPU, and you're comparing with the i7 the H45 one, which is the i7 11800H with an octa core CPU. So of course, you are immediately looking at a higher number of cores. And like I said, a lot of games and even the creative centric workloads basically take as many cores as they can, and they just eat through all of that, and they give you the best performance. So higher the number of cores, you're immediately going to notice that kind of difference. Exactly how much difference is it going to make? Well, we will obviously have to compare them in our test lab here, and then we'll be able to give you a definitive answer. But long story short, yes, you will be able to see an insane performance improvement. I can assure you that, because like I said, a lot of these creative centric applications that I've been using lately, they tend to be very much resource intensive, and they tend to take a lot of cores, as many cores as they can use. So yes, that hopefully answers your question, Raj. Next question is basically coming from Anurag More, who is asked, can the Intel H45 support overclocking like the Core K series in desktops? Well, thank you so much, Anurag, for your question. That's another very interesting question. Akshay, do you want to take this one as well?
Yeah, sure, Karthik. And thanks for the question, Anurag. It's a good question. So in a very simple, short answer, yes, right? So our flagship actually, like I mentioned, Core i9 11980HK is specifically designed for overclockers, right? And it's fully unlocked for overclocking beyond the 5 gigahertz turbo speeds that it provides. And like I said, with the Intel XT utility, you can do a lot of things, right? A lot of features that you enabled. You can go to the finest gain control, or if you're a novice overclocker, you can do things like with speed optimizer. So yes, overclocking definitely supported. And if you're looking for that, make sure you pick a laptop with the Core i9 11980HK.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay, for that answer. Yes, if you're looking to overclock your system, then definitely get the Core i9 11980HK. It's completely unlocked. You can do all the crazy stuff in there. I'm pretty sure that's going to be awesome. Anyway, moving on to the next question, we have a very interesting question from a user named Piyush. Piyush basically wants to know, can we play games in the laptop for about 12 to 14 hours continuously without seeing any lag or heat? Well, first of all, Piyush, thank you so much for your question. You seem like a hardcore gamer to me. I mean, you're playing games for 12 to 14 hours continuously. That's a lot, not gonna lie. I mean, I sometimes tend to play that much as well, but it gets very crazy. But yes, to answer your question, yes, of course, laptop can handle that extensive amount of gaming for 12 to 14 hours. Of course, I can get how intense your gaming sessions can get, and you tend to get hooked to the game and you continuously play them. Yes, it can handle, but then there are a lot of external factors at play here. It's not just about the CPU. I must tell you that, of course, because like I said, from what I have tested, the CPU temperature seems to be pretty well under the limit, even when you put them through heavy load. Like I tested 2 of the H45 processor powered laptops, and I was able to notice that even under extreme stress and load, the CPU was well under the acceptable limits of the TJ max limit is basically 100 degrees Celsius for these processors, and they will be able to sit comfortably under that around, I would say, 85 to even 90 degrees Celsius under extreme load. So if you're going to game for that many hours, what I would recommend you to do is probably get a laptop cooler if you're going to play on laptop, and also try to maintain the ambient temperatures a little bit, because that also hugely affects the laptop performance, right? Because heat that's going to come out of these laptops is going to be somewhere on the north of around 40 to 45 degrees Celsius, the air that's coming out. So obviously, if you have a very small room or a small confined setup and there's no proper cooling or air conditioners going on there, then it can get a little bit uncomfortable when you're playing, especially when you're talking about 12 to 14 hours of gameplay. So I would highly recommend you to control your ambient temperature as well, so that your laptop can actually keep doing its best, and it's not really bottleneck. It's not really limited by the ambient temperatures. But like I said, the processors are definitely gonna keep up with your gaming needs. You also have to make sure that your GPU is also in line. It's going to accept the the pressure that's going to put on it for 12 to 14 hours. So hopefully that answers your question, Piyush. And have a good time playing. I hope you're taking breaks when you're playing for such extensive amount. So yeah, make sure you do that. Next question, we have another question here from a user named Yoganshu Sharma. Yoganshu wants to know, I want to know how much a single core can boost up while intense gaming performance, and how much temperature balance. So first of all, thank you so much, Yoganshu. I'll just quickly answer your question here. So when you're looking at the single core boost, right? So obviously, like I said, the Turbo Max 3.0 technology is going to come into the play here. It's going to select the best performing cores out of all the cores that you have in your laptop. It's going to automatically boost that particular core to achieve the peak frequency of whatever that processor is rated for. So for example, in i9 11980HK, it's the 5 gigahertz peak frequency. If you go down a little bit, then you have the i9 11900H CPU, which is again one of the H45, and it has a peak frequency of about 4.6 gigahertz. So that's going to be achieved with the help of the Turbo Boost Max 3 technology. And of course, it also depends on the kind of application that you're running. Like I said, a lot of games, all the games are designed and they're made in a different way. So some of the games actually tend to utilize all the cores that you have, whereas some of them heavily rely on a single core itself. So obviously those single core reliable games are going to be performing very well, in addition to the other games as well. So like I said, the gaming performance is not the issue here. And the next part of your question was how much temperature can it balance? So like I said, the TJ Max limit for all of these processors that we have in the H45 series, the H series here, we're looking at about 100 degrees Celsius. So your CPU can actually go all the way up to 100 degrees Celsius. So if, for example, your laptop is extremely hot, it's running very hot, it's not able to cool the system properly. So in that situations, your CPU can go all the way up to 100 degrees Celsius. And once it hits the TJ Max limit, it's not gonna do anything to the system. What the CPU will do, it'll automatically throttle, it'll bottleneck the performance. It'll automatically throttle down the clock speeds, and your performance will take a little bit of a hit. But like I said, you don't have to worry about that in case of these processors, because we've tested them previously in a couple of laptops, and I'm sure all the processors will continue to do the way. I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot of laptops in for review as well. So we're going to be posting a lot of reviews, we're going to be posting a lot of performance numbers, so you can stay tuned to our channels, and hopefully you will be able to pick a laptop of your choice. Hopefully that answers the question. So I'm going to quickly pick one last question from the list that we've received, because we are running out of time. So we're going to quickly wrap this up so that we can also move on to the questions that we received from the chat as well. So the last question that we have is coming from Ram Krishna. Ram Krishna wants to know, mobile processors have always been a bit slower compared to the desktop counterparts due to less power availability, but the new H45 laptops has the gap between the two narrowed down. If yes, how significantly? Well, that's a very interesting question, Ram Krishna. Thank you so much for sending in that question. I think I'm going to quickly roll out to Akshay for this one as well. Akshay, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure, Karthik. So Ramakrishna, I think, a couple of things, right? So the desktop will still be the ultimate destination if, for people who are looking the absolute best and highest performance, right? Because there's just a lot of things you can do there. There's a lot more thermal headroom. You can, pick a lot of the high-end components and so on. But yeah, laptops are catching up fast, right? And over the years, we have seen, high-end gaming laptops with Intel Core processors, giving some insane FPS, on many multiplayer titles and AAA titles, especially with, the Core i9, the 11th Gen Core i9, 11980HK. You see that already it's offering, 8 core, 16 threads of performance. From a frequency, it's going up to 5 gigahertz thanks to Intel Turbo Boost Max 3.0, which is in desktop caliber, right? And if you see, from a TDP perspective, while the i9 is, expected a TDP of 45 watt, it can config TDP all the way to 65 watt. And, 65 watt is typical desktop territory, if you know, right? So when used in the right designs, with the appropriate cooling solutions, you're going to see some interesting laptops, that can really give competition to a desktop in terms of hitting those high FPS, right? So yes, in a short answer, yes, we think laptop is catching up, but then desktop has its place. It is still the destination if you want the absolute best performance. But if you want something that's portable that you can carry around to your friend's place, laptops are convenient, and they are catching up pretty fast in performance.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay. Like Akshay just mentioned, of course, your desktop is going to be your ultimate gaming destination. But with all these improvements that we are getting over from the Intel and all the manufacturer side, the laptops are actually getting a lot better. And of course, the portability factor plays a huge role. And I'm sure a lot of people, that's why a lot of people keep asking me about laptops in general, because laptop has the charm of, carrying around and playing it anywhere. You don't have to confine on your desktop setup. Anyway, so that was all the questions that we received from you guys from the registration. Now we're going to pick a couple of questions from YouTube, because the chat is going absolutely wild. We have a lot of questions rolling in, so I'm going to quickly pick up a couple of questions. So I can see here a lot of people have actually asked about this. So 3 viewers in particular, Jay Avchar, Carnage BFR, and Rishabh Music, all of you guys and a lot of other people have asked us as well. How is the performance in AAA titles, and how many FPS can I get? 60 FPS at high and ultra settings. So thank you so much, guys, for asking this question. I'll quickly answer your questions. Yes, of course, you can play AAA titles in these laptops. Like I said, even the laptop that we showcased in the video earlier, all of these laptops are actually powered by the H45 Intel H series processors. And then you also have supporting GPU that's very much capable of running AAA titles. We've reviewed a lot of them. Regardless of you have dedicated discrete GPUs here, and we're talking about GPUs like RTX 3060, 3070, 3080. So obviously your AAA titles are going to be sorted. And how many FPS? Well, that completely depends on the kind of games that you want to play. If you're, let's say, you want to play some esports centric titles like Valorant, Counter-Strike, or some stuff like that, or Dota 2, League of Legends, all these games are going to scale very well, and you will be definitely be able to hit that 60 FPS. In fact, you'll be able to go way higher than 60 FPS when it comes to these titles. But talking about single player games that are slightly resource intensive and graphic intensive titles like Metro Exodus, as you saw, the laptop that we have right here was comfortably able to hit about 80 FPS at ultra settings. Okay, Metro Exodus is a game that's insanely graphics intensive. There's like a lot going on in Metro Exodus. It's a very beautiful game. So you have a lot more element to render and everything, and the GPU was able to handle it very well. And even the CPU, like I said, was able to manage everything very well while staying under the acceptable limits. So yes, to answer your question, you will be able to play AAA titles, and you will be able to play them at very good frame rates. So you don't have to worry about that at all, and at ultra settings as well at that. Next question, we got this from Wacky Backy Gaming. Wow, what an interesting name, Wacky Backy Gaming. That's a very good, I love that name. Anyway, the question Wacky wants to know is what about performance of real-time FPS games such as Valorant, CS:GO, and Apex Legends? Well, thank you so much, Wacky, for answering your question. I see that you play Apex Legends. I play Apex Legends myself a lot. In fact, I play an unhealthy amount of Apex Legends, that I should admit. But yes, when you're talking about FPS games, like I said, FPS games are going to be sorted. If you want to play games like Valorant, the popular ones right now are Valorant and Apex Legends, that comes to on top of my mind. So if you want to play these games, then you are sorted very well. Like for example, the one laptop that I have in front of me right here is the MSI gaming laptop that's running the Core i9 11900 at CPU. This is the actually very laptop that I'm using to do this entire stream right now. So as you guys can see, it's able to hold up pretty well. You guys tell me the streaming quality, how the stream quality is. And to answer your question, yes, I did play Valorant in this laptop. I also played Apex Legends in this laptop. And like I told you, this particular laptop has a 240 Hertz refresh rate monitor. That's actually insane. And I was able to get those many FPS in the games. Like you said, Valorant was able to run at 240 Hertz, 240 FPS, and even Apex Legends was able to push an extreme amount of frame rates. Like Apex Legends, I would say the sweet spot for Apex is clocking it at 190 FPS. That's your sweet spot, so that the game doesn't start stuttering. It tends to be a little weird. I mean, it's Apex. So anyway, so if you run 190 Hertz, you should be just fine. So yes, you are sorted. Wacky Backy Gaming, that's an awesome name. Keep rocking. Happy gaming. And the next question is from L2H Gaming. So L2H Gaming wants to know, will the H45 CPU be able to handle the load of playing, recording, and streaming PUBG PC with OBS Studio? Now, again, very interesting question, L2H Gaming. A lot of streamers here that I'm able to see. Like I said, guys, we have a lot of creators here in the audience, in the viewers list right now. A lot of people are actually getting into content creation, streaming, and gaming. I absolutely love that. I love to see a lot more streamers and content creators coming out, emerging, and wanting to explore. Yes, so L2H Gaming, to answer your questions, yes, these Intel H45 laptops will be able to handle the game and the recording and streaming, all of that at the same time. I would highly recommend you to go for a slightly like a better offering. I would suggest you to go with either an i7 or an i9 in this case, because your use case seems to be a little bit more taxing when it comes to the performance. So I would recommend you to go with an i7 or an i9, and you should be sorted, because the more number of cores are going to help you with handling all of that. So your encoders and everything is already sorted. So you can, I mean, I'm pretty sure you know how to use OBS. You can get your encoders and everything sorted there. You can set everything up, and your CPU will do just fine. So I hope that answers your question. And guys, well, that's all the time we have. I've been told to stop taking more questions, unfortunately, because we're running out of time, because we also have to hop into the most important part of this live session, which is the quiz. I'm sure a lot of you guys are still sticking around for the quiz. You guys want to win the quiz, and you guys want to walk away with an Intel H45 based gaming laptop. Yes, I'm equally excited for this particular session. Okay, so before moving on, I just want to quickly tell you how this quiz is going to go down, right? So what we're going to do is basically, I'm going to open up my slideshow here again real quick, because that's where the quiz particular section is right here. So like I said, it's a quiz time. Let me quickly just share my screen. Yes, there you go. So as you can see here, this is the quiz time. So the way it's going to go down is, I'm going to be asking you 3 questions, and the person who answers all 3 of them correctly, and the quickest one to do so, will win an Intel H45 based gaming laptop. It's as simple as that. No strings attached, nothing. I hope you've already registered as well, because we'll be checking that as well. So I'm pretty sure all of you guys have registered, because we got a ton of registrations. Anyway, so I would highly recommend you to do what you do is you first, the next slide, you're going to be seeing 3 questions basically in the next slide. So I would recommend you to go through all of those questions and type in the answers for all 3 questions in one single message, and add your registered email ID to the end, so that we can actually track you and we can reach out to you for your prize. After all, we have to give you the laptop as well. So again, I repeat again, you just type in all 3 answers together at the same time, and also add your email ID in the end, and hit that enter send button, and we'll get the chat. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people here in the behind the scenes are currently monitoring the chat. They'll be able to pick up the winners. So the quiz questions will be in your screen now. There you go. These are the questions. So I'm going to quickly also read out these questions. So the first question that we have here is, what is the default TDP of the Intel H series processors that we talked about today? Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know the answer to this question. We've been talking about it. But like I said, all these questions, if you've been paying attention to the presentation, these are very easy questions to answer, guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to win the laptop here. I already started seeing a lot of answers here. But like I said, guys, just read all these 3 questions together and type in your answers to all of them together in one single message, and add your email address so that you can, you're eligible to win. So because that way it's easier for us to track as well. So the next question is, which Intel H45 based processor can achieve a turbo boost clock speed of 5 gigahertz? And your options for that question are Intel Core i9-11900H. That's your first option. Your second option is Intel Core i9-11980HK. And your third option is Intel Core i7-11800H. So all these 3 processors, they all belong to H45 based processors. But you don't have to tell us which is the one that actually can hit the turbo boost frequency of that insane 5 gigahertz. Moving on to the next question, we have the third question is, how many PCIe 4.0 lanes does the Intel H45 platform offer? Awesome. That's the last question. For the answer that, so the option for that question, not the answer. Oh my God, I always told you guys the answer. Anyway, so the options for that questions are 20, option B is 16, and option C is 24. So, well, guys, those were the questions. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes on the clock. So I'm going to start the timer just about now on my phone. Let me quickly pull up my phone here. I'm going to give you guys, actually, you know what? We'll give you 2 minutes. Let's just make it real quick. We already have spent quite a bit of time. So I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to answer all these questions, and we'll be picking up a winner right after this timer runs. So I'm going to start. I've already started. So we're going to be waiting for 2 minutes. So I'll give all of you guys to give a chance to answer your question. And then from that, we'll be picking up a winner. In the meanwhile, I just want to quickly go through the chat real quick. I am seeing a lot of questions are still being asked. So I just want to quickly go through all of that. So we have a lot of answers here. Okay, so a lot of people have been answering the questions. So we've just hidden all of those so that people don't just copy paste them. So that's the way it is, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so we have a lot of answers coming in. And yeah, so we still have 1 minute and 30 seconds on the timer, guys. In case you've already sent in your answers, you can keep chatting and keep asking your questions. I'm right here to answer your questions. We can just go through a couple of them, and then we will be picking up from there. Let me quickly see. Yes. All right, so let me just quickly keep rolling. We have 40 more seconds on the timer, guys. Let's just keep it going. I'm seeing a lot of questions, answers already here. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are excited to win this particular gaming laptop. Let me quickly see if we already have a winner. I'm pretty sure we have already figured out some winner here. Let me just quickly go through that. Yes. Oh my God, we have so many answers here. Chat is going absolutely crazy. All right, I think we have one question here as well from the benchmarks. I can see. Okay, so Utkarsh Gupta actually asked us a question here. Generation, what the reason behind it? So Utkarsh wants to know from the benchmarks. I can see an almost 20% improvement over the previous generation. What's the reason behind it? Is it the improved IPC performance? Okay, so basically, Utkarsh, thank you so much for sending in your questions. Between all of this, I was actually luckily able to spot your question as well. So Utkarsh, there are a lot of factors at play here. Guys, the timer is run out. Yes, the timer is already run out. I'm just going to quickly answer this question, and then I'm going to wait for my team to tell me who has exactly won the laptop. But yeah, Utkarsh, coming back to your question, so there are a lot of factors at play here. When you talk about the 20% performance improvement, yes, as you mentioned, we have an improvement on the IPC level as well. But again, like you said, we are talking about a number of the higher core clock as well, and then you have a higher peak frequency also. So the peak frequency that these processors are able to hit is also considerably higher when you compare them with the previous generation. Like we saw, we are looking at about 19% of improvement with the peak frequency improvement. So that's actually huge. So like I said, there are a lot of factors at play here, but I would say that yes, core clocks, IPC, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And like I said, the FinFET process technology that Intel is using here behind the scene to actually manufacture these processors are also at play here. It's not a full node transition, like I said, but you're looking at a significant performance improvement as equivalent as it would be in the full node transitions case. Now, yes, I think it's time. I'm pretty sure we have some winner here with us. I'm just quickly going to check through my log. I have another laptop sitting here, just waiting for my team to get behind and then tell me the lucky winner's name. I hope you guys are excited, guys. So that is basically it. I'm going to be announcing the winner of the laptop, and then after that we're going to be closing in the session. It was a lovely session. It was fantastic talking to all of you guys. I'm actually going to quickly roll this over to Akshay real quick. Akshay, thank you so much for joining us for this live session. We're going to be wrapping this very soon. We're just going to announce the winner and then we'll be calling it. I just want to know some closing. Are there any closing thoughts that you would like to share with us and with the chat?
Yeah, thanks, Karthik. First of all, it was really fun to be here today and, hear from the community. I think enthusiastic participation, really good to see that. So thanks a lot. And I would just say my closing message would be, I think we covered a lot of ground today. So, whether you are a gamer, you are a content creator, you're a streamer, I just want to do some multiplayer gaming. We think there's a right 11th gen laptop out there for you, right? So we engineered these laptops, so that people like you could game, they could create, they could connect, without any compromise, right? Anytime, anywhere, the best performance, right, in a portable form factor. So we cannot wait for you to get your hands on a laptop, right? And once you get it, please share with us your experiences and accomplishment the 11th gen unlocks for you. So, have fun and please continue to stay safe. Good to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay. All thanks to you for taking the time off your busy schedule as well and joining us for this session. I'm sure the fans and all the Digit Squad members and everyone absolutely enjoyed and loved having you here with us. And on so much for the Digit Squad members as well who've joined us, who've been patiently waiting and listening to this entire session and talking to us and interacting as well. Thank you so much, Pranit, Vipul, Viraj, and Garv. It was lovely having you here. Thank you so much for your questions. I would suggest you stay excited for these these laptops. They're coming your way for sure. I'm sure a lot of laptops are already there on the market, and you will be able to see a lot more laptops going forward as well. So there's a lot of exciting gaming laptops coming your way. It's going to be very busy going forward. We have a lot of interesting laptops to test ourselves. So stay tuned for that as well, guys. You have a lot of content coming your way. And yeah, so definitely we're going to have a lot of fun. And so, yes, I'm going to quickly go back to the chat right now. There's still a lot more going on. We're still trying to figure out exactly who won the quiz. We have something here. Oh my God, we're still getting questions. That's actually insane. A lot of you guys are still sticking around. You want to win that laptop? Yes, absolutely. You are definitely going to be winning one of the Intel H45 based gaming laptops. As soon as we announce the winner, we will be reaching out to you personally on your email address, and we will be sending out the details, and we'll tell you exactly what laptops you're going to be winning, what laptops you'll be getting. We'll get it shipped out to you as soon as we can. And yeah, and also another thing that I quickly want to know, I was just told by my team that just in case you guys don't end up winning the laptop, don't be disheartened. We have something special for you guys as well. So obviously the first person who's going to answer all these questions is going to get the laptop. That's like the bumper prize today. But in case you don't end up winning, don't worry. We're going to be selecting 10 lucky winners from the chat who you guys have asked a lot of questions. So I'm sure you guys don't want to walk away empty-handed. So we're going to be selecting 10 more lucky winners from the chat who has asked us questions, and we'll be sending them some goodies from Digit and Intel. So what's going to be in the goodie bag, I myself don't know. I've been asking them, but nobody would tell me. So we're going to have to wait for that. But yes, 10 of you lucky winners will also be winning some Intel goodies from Intel and from Digit as well. So stay tuned for that. So that's another incentive. Thank you so much for asking your questions. We received some insane engagement today. Like I said, the chat is still going wild. A lot of you guys are still participating, and that's why my team is having a little bit of a rough time figuring out who exactly sent the correct answer, right? Because there were so many messages coming in. We obviously have to pick the correct winner. We don't want to pick the wrong ones and then do all that stuff. So we're just still waiting for my team to get in the correct laptop, the correct winner here. So I'm gonna quickly go through one more questions from Intel and a lot of questions that we have here. So I'm actually, as I'm reading the chat, a lot of people are actually interested to know the thermal performance of the H45 laptop, which is actually pretty insane. Okay, so guys, like I said, when it comes to thermal performance, if you're purely asking for the processors, then like I told you, the thermal performance of the processor is actually pretty good. You don't have to worry about the thermal performance specifically in these laptop segments that we talked about. You have your enthusiast, you have your essential laptops, you have your thin and light enthusiast laptops, and then you have your Halo enthusiast laptops. So all of these processors that are powered by the H45 processors are actually pretty good when it comes to thermal performance. Like I said, I ended up testing a couple of laptops from MSI and a couple of laptops from Asus, and all of these laptops are actually powered by the Intel's H45 processors. And what I was able to notice that we also have like proper detailed graphs and everything in our review, so you can definitely go and check it out. But what I can tell you right now is the thermal performance of this laptop, especially the processors, were actually pretty good. They were all under the acceptable limits. Even when we put them through insane amount of loads, like regardless of the application, we ran Cinebench test benchmarks, and we ran Blender test for your creative workload applications. We ended up testing the creative centric performance with the help of Lightroom and Photoshop and all these crazy applications, and these processors were able to stay comfortable under the acceptable limits. Like I said, some of them were actually pretty cool. They were running pretty chill, I must say, at around 80 to 85 degrees Celsius, which is not bad at all, especially when you're putting them through so much of load at the same time. And also the way we test our laptop is a little different. We not only run those tests once, but we also try to loop in those tests a multiple number of times so that we can see how the extended period of time the performance is being affected over an extended period of time. So with that taken into consideration, you will be able to see the ratings and everything. We have given all the ratings for these laptops. We have actually included all of that stuff, so you can go check out the reviews. And the thermal performance, I can tell you the processors are pretty much sorted. But then of course, when it comes to the overall thermal performance of the processor, you also have your GPU and you have your lot of other stuff, but that is everything depends on the cooling solution and the chassis of your laptop as well. So now that we're actually moving on to the thin and light categories of laptops, like we saw, we also have processors for that, like the i5 H45 processor that we have in the series is actually insane for the thin and light notebooks, and those are also pretty good when it comes to the performance. And yeah, so that was one question. I hope I answered the question, because I saw a lot of people were actually worried about the thermal performance. To all of those, you guys, don't worry about the thermal performance. You're sorted pretty much. And next up, I'm just gonna, before taking another question and extending this, we're gonna be actually taking up the winner. I think we have a winner name here. I'm pretty sure we have some name here. Yes, I'm seeing some activity going on, guys. Yes, we're about to announce the winner of the laptop, the Intel H45 based laptop. We have a name here. So yes, shall we do it? I think we should get started. We already, guys, have waited for a long time, so I think we should go with it. So the winner of the Intel H45 based gaming laptop from tonight is Afzal Musa, who has won the laptop. Congratulations, Afzal, for answering all the questions correctly. If you're in the chat, just say hi so I can quickly see your name. Afzal Musa has won the laptop, the gaming laptop, Intel H45 based gaming laptop here. Congratulations. That was actually quite insane. You just won yourself an Intel H45 based gaming laptop. I hope that was crazy for you. So yes, we will be definitely reaching out to you in the coming days. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we'll be reaching out to you on your email address. So keep that email address active. Keep a look at that. We'll be reaching out to you on the email, and we will then take the necessary steps to get the laptop delivered to you. And like I said, in case you didn't win the laptop, guys, don't worry. We will also be picking 10 lucky winners who have asked us a lot of questions and sent in engagement today. I'm not going to be announcing those names right now because we already been live for quite some time, and a lot of people have been waiting here. So I don't want to keep them waiting. So these 10 lucky winners will be reached out at a later time. So we already have your email address and everything. So we will reach out to you separately, and we will tell you guys, and we'll get the address and everything, so that we can ship out the the goodies from Intel and Digit. On that note, guys, that's going to be it. I've been asked to stop the live session. We're running out of time. I had a lot of fun, like Akshay said, and a lot of our Digit Squad members also said. It was a ton of fun interacting with you guys. It was lovely having all of you here. We had such good engagement. A lot of people have been active and watching the video, doing all the chats and everything. So thank you so much, everybody. And that's going to be it for me. I'm going to see you guys very, very soon, hopefully, with another laptop review. Until then,